A couple of years ago, my son Gavin, who actually today is at watching V8 over on the hill just outside of Sydney, Bathurst. That's not what I want to say about him. He's a business coach. And he invited, a couple of years ago, he invited my wife Lara and I to a seminar for entrepreneurs. And the seminar was it was on a Monday evening. It was the final one of a series, a whole weekend of up-tempo, upbeat seminars for entrepreneurs. And round the wall of the hotel seminar room was a number of placards that said things like "Wow, wow." They had other things that said, that's the one I remember. Of course, that's the one that he pointed out to us, the teacher of the seminar, as the evening went on. And every now and again, when he made a good point, he'd just point to the "wow" sign. Everyone would go "wow," or every now and again he'd just go "W-O-W," and go "wow," "W-O-W," "wow," "W-O-W." Wow. Well, we did that on the Monday evening. Imagine the people who had been there all weekend. They didn't need any coaching on this. They were already so amped up. And then there was the visitors that came on the Monday evening, and we came in all mellow. We had a busy weekend. We'd been working on Monday, and we come in, and it took us a while. The whole seminar began with loud music, very loud. And Roger Hamilton, the presenter of the seminars, he explained, I just love that loud music. He said it gives me energy. He gives me energy. I hear a W-O-W, and they all went, wow! And so it went on, and then he'd teach us what he wanted to teach us about entrepreneurship and so on. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, we have Jesus Christ in our lives. Wow. And if Roger Hamilton can get a wow out of making $1 million, we ought to get a bigger wow out of worshipping God through Jesus Christ. Am I right? Yeah. And this morning, I want to talk about Connect groups. Just want to revisit the Connect groups. Beginning of August this year, we appointed a small groups Pastor Les, and there's a wow for you right there, I reckon. Because I think his leadership is already bearing fruit in Connect groups, and I believe it's breathing new life into them, and I believe his leadership will continue to do that. But I believe there is so much more fruit to yet burst forth from our Connect Group ministries that's going to bring power and creativity, and you won't be able to help but cry out. Wow. Now, you may have heard it said that the church is not an organisation, it's an organism, and well, that's theologically true. It's an organism, but the scriptures also give us a whole lot of examples about that organism, the church, needing organisation. And it really does. The church needs organisation. And a great example of all of this, getting the church or God's congregation organised, is the story of Moses, the senior leader of a very, very, very large congregation of thousands upon thousands, leading them from Egypt, slavery in Egypt, toward the promised land. And so many organisational and care issues that needed to be addressed in that large congregation, and it's true of any congregation. That in every organisation there needs to be the organisational issues and also the care issues need to be addressed. And the organisation does need lines of accountability and a point of leadership. So the organism does need organisation. But when that person who is the lead person, the point person, when that point person of leadership is doing all of the functions of care and organisation and management, it will not be long before that person wears himself or herself out and becomes ineffective. So Moses is the senior leader, and he began to personally do all the functions of care and management. One day, Moses' father-in-law came for a visit. Anyone had the father-in-law come for a visit and check out how you're handling things? Check this out. So he comes for a visit, and I just want to read you how it all unfolded at the beginning, Exodus 18, verses 7 to 11. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. Guys, there you go. Go and kiss old daddy-in-law. And they greeted each other and went into the tent. What do you suppose they did in the tent? Well, they had a coffee. And they chatted about stuff. They chewed the fat in there in the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law about everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and about all the hardships they had met along the way and how the Lord had saved them. So he's telling him about the Red Sea crossing. He's telling him about water from the rock. He's telling him about all these things. And Jethro was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel in rescuing them from the hand of the Egyptians. And he said, "Praise be to the Lord, who rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and of Pharaoh, and who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who had treated Israel arrogantly." So this day one of the visit, it's going well, isn't it? It's all going good. And then day two, and Jethro's looking for Moses. Wants to sit down in the tent and have another coffee and chew the fat. And he can't find him. Eventually he comes across him. He finds him busy counselling all of the people. He started at daylight and he's still going when the sun goes down. Still counselling these people from daylight to day. And Jethro, the father-in-law, he was astounded that Moses had allowed himself to fall into this pattern. Exodus 18 verse 14 in the message should be up on the screen there. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, "What's going on here? Why are you doing all of this, and all by yourself?" And Moses gave a little response there, as you would. Well, who's going to do it all? It's hard to get good staff. And I just don't do it properly. And man, I go away for a week or so, and I come back, it's all messed up. I've got to pick it all up on myself. So what do you think I'm going to do? Exodus 18, verse 17 and 18. Moses' father-in-law replied, you just love this, don't you? What you are doing is not good. Welcome, Dad. Come into my tent for another coffee. You and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out. I don't know about you. I think there's only one thing worse than the father-in-law giving you this kind of counsel. That would be, for the sake of the YouTube and the podcast, it was them that said nothing. The point is, not only was this pattern of care detrimental to Moses, the senior leader, but it was also detrimental to the members of the congregation. Here's what he said: you and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out. You're going to get worn out, Mr. Senior Pastor, but everyone else is going to get worn out because you're trying to do the whole lot by yourself. Exodus 18, verse 18. You cannot handle it alone. Everybody say, you cannot handle it alone. One person cannot take care of all of the people. It is impossible. And there's got to be a much better way. The role of the senior leader is to be the point person. That's not going to change for the organisation, in order to coordinate and care and do the administration and the associated issues, to oversee those, but not to do them all. The senior leader, let's listen, this is how it all pans out here. The senior leader is to be the main representative for all the people. Exodus 18:19. You must be the people's representative. Also, the senior leader has the responsibility to teach the people how to live and how to behave. Exodus 18:20. Teach them God's decrees and instructions, and show them how to live and how they are to behave. Exodus 18:22. But have them bring every difficult case to you. The simple cases they can decide for themselves. Now, let me just tease this out a bit. The difficult cases, that'll be the heavy-duty moral issues. That will be the funeral issues. They will be when someone causes discord. In the Church of God, you say, that's kind of where it has its breeding ground, really, the discord thing. And someone's got to sort that out. And that would be a difficult case. So if they're the difficult cases, and they are, that's it. They're the difficult ones. What are the simple ones? Everything else. Everything else. So how is the congregation to take care of all these simple issues that were taking up so much of the leaders, senior leaders' time? And here's the answer: in small groups. Everybody say, wow! Of course, in small groups. The church needs organisation and needs to have various levels of leadership. The organisation within the local church needs a senior leader to head up the organisation, but then there needs to be other leaders at various levels, including leaders of small groups, to help facilitate care issues and keep the leaders of the small groups accountable and on track. And so Jethro counselled Moses to select and appoint leaders to make this happen, leaders of thousands and hundreds and fifties and tens. Exodus 18:21, appoint leaders over thousands, hundreds, fifties and tens. And the leaders of tens in our setting are connect groups. They are connect groups. That's the leaders of 10 in our setting right here. And so what we've got, the leaders of 50s will have more responsibility than the leaders of 10s. Are you with me? Is this making sense? And the leaders of thousands and hundreds will get more responsibility. So the leaders of thousands and hundreds are our departmental leaders in our setting right here in this church. You know, like the children's pastor, like the youth pastor, like the small groups pastor, like the worship director and other departments. And the senior leader, hey, that would be me here, is to select the leaders of thousands, hundreds, fifties and tens on the criteria given right here in Exodus 18 and then affirmed in Deuteronomy chapter 1. The criteria are given, and it's this. First of all, they have to be capable. Somebody said, well, Adventist Church shouldn't they have been sort of God-fearing first? No. You'll rule out most of them on the capability one before we even get to the God-fearing one. Because not everyone's got it to do the leadership thing. But we all have different gifts and different abilities, different skill sets. And so the criteria are capable, fearing God, and loyalty. That's the criteria. Exodus 18:21. Select men, by the way, gender generic. Select people who are capable, who fear God, who are reliable. Some translations say loyal, and that's the one I'm going for, and will not accept a bribe. In other words, their loyalty can't be bought. That's what they say. So I'm looking for people who will be able to facilitate a connect group, people who have a God-honouring relationship, because you're going to need that, and who are loyal to me and to the church, this church. So it's capable, God-fearing, and loyal. Now, some of you are already leading connect groups. That's because apparently you fit the criteria. Pastor Leslie, you're with me, right? They do. They fit the criteria. But because we are believing for growth and new people, and we are to be connected, I just need to let you know that we will be looking for more leaders. I'm looking out. I know where they're going to come from. They're sitting in here this morning. More leaders are here this morning. And you should fear right now if you don't want to be one. Because God could be tapping you on the shoulder and saying, you are the leader I am looking for. We're looking for more leaders. And I need to let you know that as we look for more leaders, where you need to be willing to be trained, to be equipped, and to be accountable. And we have put in place a due process of accountability and a pattern of connect groups that will best serve not just one group, but the entire church. Not just one individual, not just one group, but the entire church. And this morning you've heard the criteria by which they will be selected: capable, fear God, and loyal to this church and to its leadership.